Hello again, Steve here with a few comments I'm going to call Cancer is a Scam, a big one. Well, this video will take me back a ways anyways to where my love of conversing with people about these sorts of things began, which is along the lines of nutrition. I am currently reading a book, which I'd heard about before, but I just got my hands on a copy, The China Study by Colin Campbell. This is a bit of a review for me because in a book entitled by yours truly, Optimum Health, written back close to 20 years ago now, what Colin Campbell is talking about here is a bit of a review, and it's, of course, it's a confirmation of a lot of the things that were talked about way back at the time when I wrote this. I referenced people in here, Nathan Pritikin a lot, Pritikin's work, Dr. Gabe Merkin, Dean Ornish, and many others who had studied, nutrition very deeply. You see, the thing with nutrition is it's a big issue because, of course, the nature of humanity is we want to make money. We want to get ahead somehow and gain something from other people. And very often it's easier to lie to people than to tell them the truth, because people very often don't recognize the truth, or they think the truth is fake news as opposed to the lies being fake news. And also you can get quicker results from certain things. A lot of times governments, they want to call thieving something else, they call it taxation, so evil gets turned into virtue kind of thing. And the same thing happens with a lot of people in terms of immediate health problems. Like if you want to lose weight quickly, then there is a weight loss industry, right? But it's specifically a weight loss industry, very often not a healthy industry. It's about weight loss. So there's a big thing and also there's, of course, financial. There's that finance involved, but also there's the selling of large amounts of products, principally animal products, animal foods derived from animals, which are high in fat and high in protein. So not surprising then, maybe it's surprising, but a lot of diets, because because people are so used to eating a lot of protein and a lot of fat, and it's sort of their comfort foods. And of course, things like obesity and whatnot are symptoms of psychological and mental issues. Very often they're addictions, right? So it's easier to tell people, I think, that it's okay if you keep on your regimen of unhealthy eating. We'll just manipulate it a little bit. And, so a lot of these fad diets are the result. But studies like what Campbell has done here, this guy is a scientist in this industry. He conducted the largest nutritional study, or was part of the largest nutritional study in the history of man, which is now termed the China Study, among many other research projects that he'd done over the years for, 30 or 40 years that he was in that industry, in that field rather. And the findings are along the lines of what I'd read about years ago and written about years ago, which is that Western people eat too much protein, and protein derived from animals, and a lot of fat. And it has all kinds of health problems. And I start out by saying cancer is a scam. The cancer whole thing is a scam. Because what they found out here is that people who eat a certain kind of diet, which is fairly low in protein, or low relative to what the average North America is eating, north of 16%, whereas if it's down below 10%, and also protein derived from plant-based, there's basically cancer disappears. So I have an analogy, which is that if you have fertile soil, right, and you put a seed in it, then the seed can grow. But if you don't have fertile soil, it doesn't matter. You can try to put the seeds in, it won't grow. So cancer, carcinogens and so on, we're all subjected to some of them, right? But if our body is fertile ground for those carcinogens, they can grow into cancer. But if they're not, then they're not going to. He's talked about in the large studies that they did, it's almost 0 to 100%. It's really astounding. So the Sceptics in his industry even, who were scientists, it didn't even believe me in some cases. But eventually they have to, right? Eventually it's so convincing. So basically he talks about cancer being able to be switched on or switched off, and even when it's in its developmental stage. So this is very well known. I mean, he actually went to the United States Congress to see if he could get this information put forth into the medical system or whatever, and they would have nothing of it. My understanding is, that's my understanding of the story anyway, because it would be detrimental to industry. I mean, to say that people shouldn't be eating meat and eggs and dairy, which all have massive lobby groups, is a little bit unpalatable for politicians to take on, right? Who are just basically salespeople for whoever's paying them, right? And if the meat and dairy and egg industry is paying them, well, they don't want anything to do with Colin Campbell, and his research, as scientific as it is. They don't want anything to do with it, because they're out of job, basically, I would say. So, this whole idea, we see all these people, and, God bless them for their efforts. They probably didn't know, guys like Terry Fox and so on, who've run and campaigned and whatever, and it's ongoing. Let's find a cure, donate, right? I remember years ago when I used to be a Deepak Chopra reader, and but he had a few good points, and one of them was that he said he was at I think it was an oncology conference one time, where somebody mentioned that more people live off of cancer than die of it, and the punchline was, a lot of people die of it. So that means one hell of a lot of people are living off of it. It's a huge industry, right? Nobody wants a cure for cancer. There's the cure. Eat right and you don't get cancer, right? You have no fertile ground for cancer. This is well known, well documented, talked about for years, and very heavily confirmed with massive studies in the China study. So I would recommend anybody who's interested in, who's open-minded, who's not willing to just listen to the platitudes that are put forward by their doctor, who and very often many of them who don't know much about health, incidentally, which I talked about in here. And I'm not a doctor either, for that matter, but I'm somebody who takes an interest in this sort of thing. I would recommend. This book I would certainly recommend. And of course, if you can find an out-of-print copy, sure, as well. But I think it's so important for us to get as accurate information as we can, because our bodies are the most important possession we could say that we have, right? Because from the body we have the capacity for mental, because the brain, it seems like we need the brain and other aspects of our body to be able to, for the software of the brain or the mind to run on, right? And our emotions and all that are emoted or emitted from there. We need the body. And the more healthy we can be, the more effective we can be in all of our aspects of life. So much of it comes right down to the body. Without the body, that's like the main tool of our lives, right? And what we put in our body is what we are. It is our medicine. It is our primary health care objective, is to make sure that we're getting the right ingredients into our body. And yes, we need protein, of course. And yes, we need fat, of course. And yes, we need carbohydrate. If we're active, we need a lot of carbohydrate. Yes, we need micronutrients, minerals, vitamins. We need all of that. How about we observe what has worked for civilizations for so long for better health? And I believe very strongly, from what I'm reading here, I haven't finished it off yet, but it's along the lines of what Nathan Pritikin used to talk about, that a very simple diet based on a lot of carbohydrate and active life, and a certain amount of protein and a certain amount of fat, which comes mostly from a plant-based diet in primarily a fairly whole food presentation, consumption, is what civilizations down through the ages have eaten and have gotten great health in terms of cancer, or these lifestyle diseases anyways. Lifestyle diseases like heart attacks and cancers and whatnot, diabetes, these are the diseases that show up as a result of eating a modern diet, which is typically high in animal protein. There's a lot to be said about that. I'm not going to go into it too much because I'm not somebody who's very qualified. I've done some research of my own and written some stuff down years and years ago. I'm a little rusty on it now, but a very good review. If you're at all interested in a cure for cancer, how about we create our bodies in such a way, we feed our bodies in such a way that we're basically immune to cancer. Wouldn't that be a great idea? The only thing is, we might put a lot of people out of work because there's no need to find a cure for cancer, apparently, because it is basically a non-issue when we eat as best we can. Steve, you're getting great chatting. Talk again soon. Bye for now.